You know what happens when your family enters the top 5%? You stop asking, can we afford this? And start asking, should we? And that's a much harder question. Because at this level, it's not ramen versus rent. Like this mom, who is watching her daughter dance for the first time because she works 80 hours a week. Or this dad, who actually turned down a big promotion so he could be there for his kids. Or this stay-at-home mom, who is able to be there for every practice and rehearsal because her husband works a lucrative but travel-heavy job. At these incomes, you're not living like a billionaire, but you do have something most people don't: choice. Not unlimited choice, but real choice. The kind where you can design a life instead of just reacting to it. And here's what I've noticed. The families who feel most at peace at this level, they're not the ones making the right decisions. They're the ones making decisions that line up with what they actually value. Let me tell you what I mean. There are these core trade-offs that show up again and again once you're in this income range. And they're not little ones like, do I buy organic strawberries? They're big ones. In this video, I'll share the 3 big trade-offs that affluent families like ours are making. They are what truly shape the whole feel of your family's life and why your life might look radically different from your neighbors. And the point isn't that one option is wrong and the other is right. It's that every time you make one of these choices, you're revealing what you actually value, whether you admit it to yourself or not. We toured a private school not long ago, and I'll admit, it was incredible. Small classes, creative projects everywhere, a makerspace that looked like it belonged in a Silicon Valley office. The teachers knew every kid by name, and sitting there listening to the admissions director talk about whole child development and values-aligned community, I thought, this is exactly what I want for my kids. Then we walked out to the parking lot, sat in the car, and opened the tuition sheet. $38,000 a year per kid. We have 3. That's $114,000 a year, after tax. The next morning, I drove past our neighborhood public school, 6 blocks from our house. Kids tumbling out of cars, running with their friends. Bigger classes, sure. A little more chaotic, but it's where our neighbors' kids go. It's where my kids would walk with their friends. And I thought about my friend whose daughter went there. She got into Northwestern, captain of the debate team, completely thriving. That's when it hit me. I wasn't choosing between good education and bad education. That wasn't the real trade-off. The choice was between a curated community of people who looked a lot like us and a more diverse community where my kids would have to navigate difference. It was between the security of we did everything we could and the flexibility of knowing we could use that money in 100 other ways, helping them buy a first house or retiring early, or making sure they never have to worry about us. There isn't a neat right answer there. There's just the answer you can live with. You know what's tough about this income group? Most of us got here because we're ambitious. We're the kids who stayed late in the library, who said yes to extra projects, who believed in climbing ladders. That drive is a feature, not a bug. It's why our paychecks look the way they do. A friend of mine, let's call him David, recently got an L6 job offer in big tech. Bigger title, bigger paycheck. The kind of thing he'd been working for the past 16 years. And you could see the conflict written on his face as he told us, because saying yes felt obvious, impossible to turn down. But it also would mean more travel, like 50% of the time, being on call on evenings and weekends. He'd have to quit coaching his daughter's soccer team, and their family dinner routine would be different. As he was trying to decide whether to take the job, he told me it felt like there were 2 versions of his life on the table. In one, he's hustling hard, respected at work, head in the game. In the other, he's sitting at the dinner table, actually hearing about his daughter's day. That's the tension in this group. You want the next step, because it's in your DNA to keep climbing. But every step comes with shadows at home. And nobody tells you how disorienting it feels to have to choose between the 2 versions of yourself. The professional one who thrives on achievement, and the parent who doesn't want to miss the fleeting moments. We have friends who joined their locally famous country club last year. Gorgeous place. Pool, tennis courts, exclusive family events, summer camps for the kids. Every weekend they were there, and honestly, it looked amazing. Their kids made friends fast, and suddenly they were in this tight circle of families who all live that same kind of life. One of the dads hooked him up with a new business lead. Another mom gave them a referral to a specialist doctor when their son had an issue. It's not just golf and cocktails, it really does open doors. But here's what we didn't see on Instagram. They also picked up a $1,500 a month membership fee, fancy new cars to fit in, private lessons to keep pace with the other kids. It was a package deal, and the price tag was real. On the other side, another family we know passed on all that. They still spend their weekends together, hiking, backyard barbecues, kids running wild in the neighborhood. They're not in that circle, but they also don't feel the pressure to keep up. And every month, they're quietly maxing out investments that'll buy them freedom 10 years earlier. Neither family made the wrong choice. One is buying access and community now. The other is buying time and independence later. But you can't really do both at once. That's the trade-off. Comfort in the moment versus flexibility down the line. And whichever way you lean, it shapes the whole feel of your family's life. After months of spinning on these questions, we finally sat down one night with a bottle of wine and a notebook and said, what do we actually want? Not what looks good, not what our parents did, what we want. We wrote lists separately, then compared them. And the funny thing is, they were almost the same. We both wanted our kids to have every enrichment opportunity that we could offer them. We wanted financial security, and were willing to make a few lifestyle sacrifices to get there. We wanted to have a sit-down family dinner together at least 5 nights a week. That's just us. Your list is likely different from ours. Once we had that in front of us, the decisions got easier. We chose private school, because for us, it represented a richer education and enrichment experience. We booked a trip to Maui on points instead of the Maldives. We maxed out our retirement instead of upgrading our cars. And you know what? The guilt lifted, because these weren't half decisions anymore. They were ours. They lined up with what we'd written down. So if you're in this income bracket and you feel that constant tension, you're not crazy. You're just living in the in-between. You have enough money that your choices matter, but not so much that you can stop thinking about them. And every choice you make is telling a story about your values, whether you mean to or not. School, career, vacations, the house, the car, none of it is neutral. It's all a reflection of who you are and what matters most. The only way I've found to get peace is to be honest about those values. Write them down. Make your decisions from there. And then stop apologizing for them. Because you can't have everything. The math won't let you. But you can choose what you do have. And if it lines up with what you truly want, it's enough.